Welcome to BroPolar Disorder, a new podcast by a couple of brothers where one of them is definitely bipolar and the other one...
Still hit me with that.
What?
You still hit me with that.
Well, the other one's probably, but undiagnosed as of yet. We're going to be going over some really interesting things today. We're going to go over the Fouke Monster. I believe that's correct.
Yeah, Fouke.
Fouke.
You're right.
Like Fauci.
Yeah, it took a while too because it's spelled Fouke. So
Right.
that one kind of messed with me a little bit.
Right. So we're going over the Fouke Monster. We're going to talk about crazy story that happened there. I guess it's a cryptid, which I was not familiar with what those are at all until we started doing this. And yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I think the first thing we want to discuss is, I had a dream the other night that your kids were beating me in the head with hockey sticks. And you were standing there approving of their behavior. Like Commodus and Gladiator.
It reminds me I'd have aviators on, it's reflecting back. Oh brother, where art thou?
Yes, exactly.
The aviators that's
so you assume the devil position.
No, I don't want to be I'm not the devil position, but
it was really
in
odd.
your dream, if I'm just watching my kids beat you with hockey sticks, it
was really odd because they were hitting me in the face. I was tied to a chair. Was
it out of cruelty, or was it
they were having
annoying?
A lot of fun?
But annoying kid fun, when they whack you with something, or is it you're getting beat down by Children of the Corn-esque kids?
No, I think they were having fun. You knew what was actually happening. I knew that something was not right for sure. But yeah, I've been having a lot of dreams lately that mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
I won't discuss all of them.
Maybe premonitions or
no.
I know we're getting into cryptids. So
yeah, we're paranormal. That's what bipolar means. No, I think lately I've been having really vivid dreams, stuff that you're okay. Before I would think, well, it's just on the brain all the time. I'm overthinking everything. So clearly, this dream is extremely relevant, but it's taken out of its original context and put into a new context. Yeah. But it's still the same scenario. It's the same emotion that you feel.
Yeah.
And being hit in the head by hockey sticks is exactly how I feel.
Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No. I discussed sleep paralysis because
I have
got
it,
something
I have
on
it pretty bad. I get it quite often. You're trying to get a blackout early. No, so sleep paralysis is your brain releases a chemical that tells your muscles to stop moving.
Okay.
And you have not quite fallen into REM yet.
Okay.
So
REM being dream state?
Yeah, so you haven't hit your dream cycles yet. You haven't hit your sleep cycles. And so when that chemical releases, you can't move. But your brain is still ticking. And so it kind of autofills with, hey, we're supposed to be dreaming. And since you're kind of freaking out, you get some pretty vivid
on a roller
stuff.
Coaster, but the track ends and you can see it.
And it's a nice segue too, because it's actually attributed to a lot of UFO encounters. A lot of people that, think they were abducted by UFOs, they attribute a lot of that to having sleep paralysis, because you're having very vivid hallucinations. It's very strange, and I sound absolutely crazy when I say it sometimes, but sometimes I'll be watching myself sleep. Sometimes, there's
during your sleep paralysis, you'll it's out of body experience, watch yourself sleep.
Yeah.
What do you think about yourself?
I'm freaking out because I'm mentally.
How do you think you look?
But think about it, you can't move at all, but you're mentally awake and you're trying to move your muscles to wake yourself up.
Okay. Yeah.
All the meanwhile, you have either a demonic figure or, some kind of monster figure in the room. It's a little bit hard to breathe. So a lot of times your brain will imagine that creature on your chest or,
Okay. So I've had a lot where it's I've found like it's really hard to breathe. And then I wake up and my face was in the pillow.
You're just being smothered.
Yeah.
It's my 3 kids. Just
Yeah. Now I just turn over and do it to myself.
So
Roll over and face down.
But yeah, so I'll have these hallucinations and they're terrifying. I'll wake up and I'll be just like drenched in sweat and I'll wake Sky up immediately because I'm a giant baby when it comes to
So
that
have
stuff.
you ever seen like, okay, what's the most vivid like presence, demon, principality, monster, in-law, whatever you saw?
Like the 2 I would say that scared me the most was like kind of like I don't remember what that movie was, that Japanese horror movie that was like Americanized.
The Ring?
Kind of like that, but it was the other one.
No. With Holly Berry?
Yeah, so
Gothica.
I see creatures like that are like crawling across my ceiling upside down, and that is terrifying to me.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah, I'm hallucinating it.
I'm having
very vivid
been
dreams.
there when you had this?
So actually, the first time I ever had sleep paralysis, weirdly, I don't even know if you know this, but we were at Grandma's house, and in her basement, she, someone actually died. I don't know if you know that, but like someone had wrecked their car and died in that house, like crashed into the house and died.
All of this is news to me.
They kept it from you. So anyways, I woke up, I was having a terrible, vivid, sleep paralysis, and like a hooded, figure in like an all black, like robe is like whispering crazy stuff.
Like a Freemason?
Well, it started like choking me, and like I felt like the actual pain of it, and it's all your brain just releasing these,
What'd you do?
signals. But yeah, I was freaking out. But
old
it started. But I swear, I don't know Latin at all. But I swear, like my brain's just auto filling what I believe is Latin. It's like whispering Latin. So I just immediately started praying in my dream. I'm saying the Lord's Prayer. Yeah, and it did work. And so
Nailed it.
yeah. But there's also times though where I wake up from a sleep paralysis where I think I've woken up, but I'm really just in another layer, like Inception. And that one messes me up the worst, because what happens is you're trying so hard to move your body, like to wake yourself up to get out of this sleep state. So when I do that and I do wake up from it and I think I'm awake, but I'm really just in another one. And so I haven't completely woken up yet. And so that's the kind of stuff though that like I'm just like, now that I've exposed myself on the podcast, with having this crazy stuff, but sleep paralysis is terrifying. And if you read listen to some of the people
I know it's real because I've heard so many people afflicted by it.
Yeah, in the Army, I had to get a bunch of sleep studies done. So, but yeah, so that was...
How old were you? And was I there in Grandma's basement when this happened?
Yeah, I was like, I think I was 16.
Any chance it was Grandma on the ceiling?
If Grandma's playing the greatest prank of all time. Literally the greatest. She's literally just choking me in my sleep, whispering Latin. Oh my gosh.
I said you'll sleep on the fold out.
But no, that would have been, that would be the funniest. Like, I would have to give her, like, to this day, I wouldn't even be mad at her. I would give her mad props for that prank because that would be perfect.
I don't think you could be mad. You'd just be horrified.
Yeah. So, that leads us, like I said, weirdly enough, we hadn't even.
Okay. So, so you've had 2 instances. I was there for that one. They were climbing on the ceiling.
Yeah. And
was I just at peace? Could you see me?
No, like everyone else is sleeping. Like when I see myself sleeping, like my brain's autofilling that Sky is next to me now, and so I'll see Sky sleeping next to me as well. But who knows? Like that could just be me autofilling that. Obviously.
Right.
And so I'm a skeptic of my own self, and I see it truly as just like I'm having hallucinations. And
well, the only really experience I've had where it's like sleep paralysis or like a demonic presence while I'm sleeping, I was in college. And of course, Josh and I
took a turn, by the way.
Yeah, Josh and I we shared a room, and our beds were like facing each other with like this much room between it. So we'd wake up, see each other.
I remember, yeah.
Good morning. It was great, Weird for some, but
When you're in college, you have to make ends meet. That's the thing. It's like you have to, if you only have so many bedrooms and you have so many people.
It was. But I remember I was sleeping on my side, and I could feel something on my ear. I remember I was asleep. I was out, And then I rolled over to my back, and I just remember something just screaming in my face, like it was a woman's scream, just like really loud. And I jumped up, and it freaked Josh out. I jumped up, and he probably doesn't remember because he was asleep. And I ran down the hall, and I ran into the stair, like the banister on the stairs. And it freaked me out. I know something screamed at me then.
You know what this sounds like?
I was asleep.
This sounds like the start of every horror movie that we already said.
I did stay in that house. By the way.
I know, and that was just us talking, but we had said that if anything like that ever happened to us,
right,
we would never stay in that home. Like when I watched Paranormal Activity, when I first saw that movie, I was like, "There's no way you're going to pay me to stay in that home. You couldn't pay me. I don't care how quick. If I just bought the house and I'm going to be, completely, financially ruined."
Right.
And after seeing what they were supposed, it's obviously it's a movie, but after seeing like that stuff, like the footprints and the door slam, no, I'm gone.
Right. Even in this economy.
Yeah, bro.
I would stay in that.
Yeah, bro.
I would leave.
I'll call an insurance agency and just pray they have some kind of like weird paranormal like clause I opted in for. But yeah, so weird. I mean, that takes us, kind of into the cryptid stuff, and that's nice because we didn't prep that at all.
Yeah, we didn't prep. We're not good preppers.
But so in the dream, you never got to finish it though. So
I ran into the banister, scared the crap out of Josh, and I don't know. It never screamed at me again. But
it got its one.
I've been praying a lot.
It's like that. Everybody gets one.
Yeah, I did have a moment where I was like, yeah, something was saying something to me at that point because I was I'm always, not always, but for a long time I've been a believer. A lot stronger now after all the stuff I've been through, which is an interesting story for another time. But at that time, I was in college and you're like still trying to figure it out. And I think I was kind of pretty lukewarm. And I think maybe it was a wake up scream, blood curdling wake up scream from some. She looked like The Ring. That's the only thing I can picture, like the black hair down the face, right? I mean, that's what you picture. But I swear I heard that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was talking about the dream with my kids because now.
Oh yeah, they were just hitting me in the face with hockey sticks, and I remember you were just standing there, you weren't smiling, you weren't. I don't think you were smiling, but you were just standing there. You were watching it happen, and you weren't. It's not like you weren't removed from the situation. You had full approval of what was happening, and I was taped to this chair.
I hope I was looking over like Major Payne, like I'm proud of my little
yeah. Yeah, you had to have been proud. I was too busy getting hit in the face with hockey sticks. But I don't know what that dream means.
Yeah.
But I haven't slept here in a long time since then.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell, I actually had a weird dream as well the other night.
Bring it.
Now that we're on to dreams, and then we'll get right into the
Fouke Monster.
The Fouke Monster, but I had a dream that like there was this like kind of like the Purge kind of situation, except I was on the wrong side of it. Not that there's a good side of the Purge, but I was totally being hunted, and me, Sky, and the kids were chosen as like a family on vacation, and we thought we like had won like like a cool like little like trip or something.
Yeah.
But when we get there, they like undo these cages and people just start shooting at us.
They just let you out of cages and like most dangerous game type of thing?
Yeah, and so
they're hunting you?
Weirdly in my dream, I'm like, hey, I just saw a video about this. I don't know why. So I'm like, I know what to do. I know how to get us out of this. And so we get out of it.
I just watched a YouTube video.
Yeah, I was. It was like, hey, don't worry.
Bear Grylls says.
Yeah, we're going to be A-okay.
Yeah.
So then, so we start going and we get through that round. And then there's another round.
There's
and
multiple
you think
rounds
that you've
to
like
the purge,
you think you've like won in your past, almost like Squid Games, almost a little bit of Squid Game-esque. And so the next round though, they flood the whole area, and there's only like 3 tanks that you can climb into
Like battle tanks?
No, like almost like little like portholes that you can climb into and like be safe.
Okay.
And so I grab Lola and the girls. I'm like, Sky, you grab Logan.
Yeah.
You take him in that one. But Sky doesn't listen to me.
Perfect.
In my dream.
This is this elaborate setup.
It was really a burn at Sky.
This is a great burn.
So she doesn't listen to me in this dream. And so, you know, the like flood comes and washes Logan and Sky out of the picture.
They're gone.
And I have Lola and Luna with me in this little like tank. And then I immediately just like have that like wake up, you know, where you're like, oh,
like you fell, like you really woke up from
yeah,
your dream?
like a scared wake up. And then I felt so morally terrible that day that I had to tell Sky. So I literally went to Sky, like, hey, and she's like, great, that's great that's what
so
you
maybe
think, like in our dream that I don't listen.
You should heed my leadership.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Fouke Monster time.
Yeah, so let's get right into that. Really crazy story. So
Yes.
Fouke, Arkansas is actually located, just a nice solid cold open, by the way. Fouke, Arkansas is located 7 miles south of Texarkana, which is in southwest Arkansas. It's a very rural town. There's 808 people that live there, according to the census, I believe.
In Fouke?
Yeah, and I found a lot. I had to do a lot of research.
I did 0.
Yeah, I had to literally, was on
Nick had to tell me the story so that I could participate.
Encyclopedia Arkansas, into the Ozarks.com was another one. My favorite source was wideopenspaces.com. They did an article called The Fouke Monster, the story behind the world famous Southern Sasquatch.
Southern Sasquatch. Like
yeah,
it's like a Cajun Squatch.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Arkansas, I guess, isn't really Cajun.
I mean, we're close. I mean, so actually, weirdly enough, Texarkana is pretty close to Shreveport, Louisiana. So that's not a bad comparison.
Yeah.
And then FoukeMonster.net is an awesome one for sightings. I say that because I got a lot of source material from there. So I definitely wanted to give them shout outs because those are all actually really awesome.
High school and college coming back.
Yeah. So
they're like, you did an MLA.
Yeah. So, so it's a very small town.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, now I have to take a drink of water. You got me.
It's because I did it.
So
quiet with the cap there.
I know I'll spill it if I don't.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So it's a super rural town, 808 people. It's made up of like a lot of like creeks and like I guess creeks that like kind of lead into each other, and they have like something called the Sulphur Springs there. I bring that up because that's generally where a lot of the sightings come from, is this Sulphur Springs area.
Is that like an inlet? What do they call that?
I don't really know.
Remember that map that they always had in school, like the volcano, like the dinosaurs?
I know exactly what you're
like
talking
some
about.
sort of extinction event, and there's just rivers and explanations of what a mesa is.
Yeah.
And if you learn Spanish, it's much easier.
Yeah.
It's just a table.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of creeks that kind of like converge into like.
Okay.
But that's kind of that's what this rural Arkansas is geography looks like. So, the most famous story around this Fouke Monster happens to be from 1971, and that's where like a lot of floods of sightings. Floods of like people reporting sightings come in.
Right.
Is after this 1971 attack.
Attack.
Yeah, so when you hear Sasquatch, you think
Right.
Bigfoot. And everyone immediately, like, even myself, I immediately was thinking, like, Bigfoot. And I was kind of, like, bummed. I was like, maybe I won't
Yeah, because
cover this one.
Bigfoot's overplayed. He's boring.
Yeah, I mean,
He kind of is. I mean, he's interesting, but also nobody's ever going to find Bigfoot because how many millions of people have looked for him?
yeah, I mean, like, and
To no
there's something
avail.
about, I don't know. There's nothing really, like, scary about Bigfoot that I'm like,
Also
I have
true.
to, like, if I'm walking in the woods, I saw Bigfoot, I don't think I'd immediately be, like, petrified.
Yeah.
As much as I'd be trying to grab a camera, I'd be like, finally, it's my time to shine,
Well, I think also all of our movies, all of what Hollywood does surrounding Bigfoot, just like de-weaponizes him in a way.
Yeah, I mean, he's
right.
like-
I mean, it makes him kind of this
Yeah.
goofy. What was that 80s?
Kind of like
movie,
bumbling,
it's
like almost like a Mr. Magoo of the woods,
That's kind of what they do, and so it's he's got that forehead,
Yeah,
and he's
big
just
forehead.
like he's just been hitting that. But he's got to be intelligent. If it's real, they'd have to be very intelligent to hide.
Yeah,
for that long.
I have a hard time. Like I think like if the monster's like biggest nemesis is like TMZ, then it's hard for me to like be like, oh yeah, like I'm petrified.
Yeah.
But what's different about the Fouke Monster is it attacked a family, like, and that was the first big reporting of the Fouke Monster was actually in an attack. And so we're gonna get into that story because that story I think is pretty much
1970s, which is the creepiest decade.
Yeah, man, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, I just think the colors in the film and like even like Willy Wonka,
Yeah,
it's eerie, right?
is.
Other than Wizard of Oz, which is another time, scariest movie of all time.
yeah. Chet used to hide behind the couch.
To this day, scariest movie of all time. But the 70s were creepy. The Shining, The Exorcist, you're right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas
that
Chainsaw
terrified
Massacre.
me.
But also like the way they filmed things and like the color wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was
they
there.
couldn't BS it with CGI. Like,
Right.
they didn't, you couldn't. So if you're going to scare your audience, you got to be crafty with like these, like, shots. And I think they just executed on such a level that it made people terrified.
And disco. Not, that's.
It is like one of my ultimate fears, though. It's like to be cool, I have to be good at disco and like,
Yeah, I just find, and the fashion in the 70s, I just find it repugnant.
Really.
Yeah. Not a bell bottoms guy. I think that maybe it might be 60s, but.
I feel like I'm too short for bell bottoms. Like it would be like, like
chaps.
it would be like, big enough for like my, hips and then like a small amount of thigh. And then they would immediately have to start bell bottoming out, like at 5'6", like that bell bottom would be a short pant,
Yeah.
It would more look like Jinko jeans.
Jinko jeans.
So let's get into this.
So let's get into the attack. In 1971, attack on the family in Fouke, Arkansas.
Yeah, so there's two families living at a home. Bobby Ford.
That's your first problem.
Yeah, they're brothers, so maybe they were doing their own like little BroPolar.
Remember what happened when we were sleeping in the same room? Grandma was climbing on the ceiling.
Yeah. So Bobby Ford and his wife Elizabeth.
Yes.
And then I don't have. Oh yeah, Patricia Ford is the sister-in-law, and then Don Ford was Bobby's brother. So they're all living in this home together. And
the Ford family.
Yep, the Fords. There we go. And then the less fortunate Fords.
Yeah. So they have no automobile tycoon in them at all.
No, zero. So they moved to rural Fouke, Arkansas, and they have bought this home brand new. They haven't even been in a few days.
Okay.
And within the first few days, Elizabeth,
which is the
yeah. So
well, I guess it's irrelevant.
Bobby Ford is kind of like the main figurehead of the story.
The protagonist.
Yeah, and so his wife is sleeping in their front room. I don't really know what front. Maybe that's like a living room with windows.
Yes.
But she's asleep, and she wakes up to see a long, hairy arm reaching through the window. And she says,
"Did they leave the window open?"
See, and that's the thing is like,
what month was this in?
I don't know.
Does it say?
I don't know.
Oh.
But it's reaching through the window.
Okay, let's just
with
take
claws.
it for what it's worth.
And she looks
with
up.
Claws?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember that part.
I actually have an exact quote from her, and I think it like really seals it. But she said, "I saw the curtain moving on the front window at first. I thought it was a bear's paw, but it didn't look like that. It had heavy hair all over it. It had claws. I could see its eyes. They looked like coals of fire, real red." And that was the Texarkana Gazette had taken her statement after the actual attacks were reported.
Yeah.
But that was just the first night. And so
nothing happened. Right? He just clawed
Bobby
in.
and Dawn chase. She screams. They chase it. They go out on the porch and they start shooting at it.
Right, but they don't do that. Nothing happens.
They miss completely.
Okay, yeah.
And
so, what's the logical thing to do?
They call the sheriff's department.
Stay another night.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I mean, so although, here's the thing. Like,
No,
I say that, but if Sky comes to me, he's like, I saw an arm reaches through the window, had like red eyes and stuff, and she was just asleep, and it's like, I'd feel bad after the fact because, they do get supposedly get attacked. But I'd probably be like, hey, you were probably dreaming, let's just get back to bed, you fell asleep out on the couch. But I'd think about the next day,
like, hey, what could it hurt staying somewhere else for a night?
Yeah. But here's the thing. They don't.
They rode out the storm.
They call the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department comes out, and this is one of my favorite parts about the story, because I kind of forget. It's 1970s, but I forget, I guess I just didn't realize how obnoxious this would be today. Like, this would never happen.
Right.
But the sheriff's like, hey, that was creepy. I don't see any evidence of that monster. But in case it comes back, take this shotgun.
53 years ago.
Gives them a shotgun to keep at their house in case he comes back. What a ballin' move by the sheriff.
Yeah. He's like, take care of your own.
Yeah.
I got business to take care of.
Yeah.
I got DUIs. They probably didn't even hand those out back
then.
Now,
yes. I mean,
just
realistically.
Like, Johnny's the quarterback.
Someone come
he
pick him up.
can't be in jail. We got the division championship.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
I don't know the DUI laws.
I just went with some sort of offshoot B movie about a drunk quarterback, high schooler.
Bobby and his brother Don, they have a buddy named Charles Taylor, and that's their hunting partner. They go out hunting the next couple days.
Okay,
and they see, the actual Fouke Monster out and about. And
at what time of day?
This is daytime, but they just see it from afar. I see this thing stalking around our property, and they're trying to kind of figure out what it is. Right. My first inclination, it's a bear. Like, just where the region's at. There's bears prevalent.
Maybe it's a hog. They love the hogs here.
Yeah, the hogs, but it does not fit the description.
That's true.
Tall, gangly, long arm with claws.
That's true.
I mean, unless it's some radioactive pig, maybe. But so they see it a couple times, and then they're like, "All right, we need to lock this down." And on the night of the actual attack, they are out on their porch, and they see this monster. Okay, and they go out and they pepper this thing. They're sure.
They're got buckshot or they got bird shot?
They got flashlights. They got shotguns. I'd imagine buckshot or slugs.
So it's the Alamo. They're ready.
But they're peppering this thing. And they see it running away. But they see it fall and collapse like it's been shot.
That's right.
And so they're thinking, we got it. We got it. So they start descending upon this beast, which I can imagine has to be one of the most anxiety, riddled moments.
Right. I'm sure you get anxiety. I mean, I've actually never shot a deer, but I'm sure that even if you hit a deer, walking up on it, I'm sure there's some level of adrenaline. Yeah, because
a lot of times these creatures, they're not dead, and so they're dying. But
am I gonna have to pump another one in here, or what's going on? Yeah,
and so and they're approaching it like that,
right?
As they're approaching this beast, they hear the screams of women. Now, it doesn't specifically say they hear their wives screaming. Just say they hear women screaming.
As they're going to find this beast.
As they're descending upon it.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me this. As they were going to find the beast that they just brought down with their...
Yeah, they just peppered it.
With their ammunition, right?
And so they get down there, and then they hear those women's screams. And so Bobby's like, I got to get back there and check on the women. As he's approaching the house, and before he can get to the porch, he gets tackled. Well, he gets he says he had the monster's arm was around his shoulder and essentially yanked him to the ground. And then they start wrestling and fighting on each other. So they're wrestling all over the ground. And this is a lot to process because...
And how big is this beast, right? It was 7 foot tall, right?
Yeah, and so a lot of
300
reports,
pounds.
7 foot tall, estimated about 300 pounds.
Hairy shack.
Yeah, and in my head, this is kind of the start of a WWE promo. like they're walking out. He's just coming out to like a cool song and he's all excited. He just shot the monster and he's walking back. He's, going back to the house after he, hears women screaming. So he's trying to get back into it. And out of nowhere, the Big Show just clotheslines him, takes him to the ground, starts wrestling. Then they're fighting. They're like scrambling around on the ground. They're wrestling each other. And he somehow breaks free from this. Bobby breaks free.
The human
breaks free from the 7 foot, 300-pound Fouke Monster. And he's so terrified that instead of fumbling for keys at the door, he actually goes through his front door, like shoulder
through
checks,
the door,
off
which
the hinges.
Is actually the 100% proper response.
Yeah, and also I think
non-horror film response to getting out of there.
I think even if the story's not true, that feat alone is impressive because
maybe
I feel like
Bobby
a lot of
just
people
was drunk and ran through his door, and his wife asked what happened, and he
like,
cooked up this
it."
entire thing because he could never live it down.
Elizabeth
that he won $1.50 running through the front door.
Yeah, so he takes this thing off its hinges, bro. He takes it off. He
blows it off.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Waterboy, like when he's got the tackling fuel.
Right.
He's all juiced up and he just goes through the door, bro. Also, what I'm thinking too is you just took your only thing keeping the beast out of your home off of the wall.
Also true.
But he's so terrified in the moment, he's obviously not thinking this. And so, regardless, something terrified him to the point where he goes through the door.
What happened to his boys that were hanging out on the porch?
They're all seeing this from the distance.
They're not just pumping lead. Just
well, if they got shotguns, they really can't pump lead in their direction because they could hit Bobby.
Are they swinging the shotguns at him? You think?
I think that they were further down. Because Bobby took off running back for the house.
So it's the women's fault.
No, we're not getting canceled on episode 1.
I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not doing Adam and Eve here. What I'm saying though is they screamed, and Bobby got messed up. Otherwise, they had that thing cornered, right?
Well, they thought so, but when they got down there was no beast.
Okay.
And so Bobby's getting messed up from this beast up there. And so when they scramble free, the beast runs into the woods. He runs literally through his front door. And they go get their guns, get riled up, call the sheriff's department back out. Now the sheriff's department comes out and they see no beast.
Of course.
But they do see lots of tracks of a 3-toed creature.
Right. And the 3 toes is what really turned it off for me. I'm fine with 4. I'm fine with missing. Well, wait a second.
You have a foot phobia. You're like the antithesis of a Tarantino.
Do I look at the feet to say, hey, what kind of person is this person by the look of their feet? Yeah. I think it tells you a lot about a person.
Yeah, but you're more grossed out by it.
I'm not, okay. I think there was a time when that might have really bothered me. Yeah. I'm not an open-toed shoes kind of person all that much. But I mean, you get accustomed to people. Why are we doing this? Why are we talking about feet?
So it's a 3-toed
It's a
creature.
3-toed creature.
And they're seeing tracks.
Does it have toenails or claws?
It doesn't say.
It
doesn't say. It just says that they see tracks all over the property.
Toenails.
Yeah, the toenails. Now I feel more Bigfoot-esque. If it's got claws, it's a little bit different. I feel a little bit better.
Just big thumping toes on a 7-foot monster.
But the police are finding these tracks all over the property, and so they're like, okay, well, we don't see the monster, but we do see where a creature was here and attacked you. Okay, so they're at least believing that they were attacked by something. And at this point, there's really no, name for this monster. Like, it became the Fouke Monster, but there was no name for it at this point. And so the sheriff's department, they're like, okay, well, again, at this point, I move out of the house that night. They leave, okay, and...
They did leave, though? They left the home after that?
No, they stayed.
Yeah.
Wait, they stayed for just a few nights.
Okay.
The Texarkana Gazette hears about this, incident.
That they stayed.
No, they hear about the attack.
The attack, yeah.
And so they want to do the piece on it. And so they come out to,
Of course.
Interview these people, and they're packing up. They're
Paws,
moving.
Just trying to get a story. Just trying to get a beat on somebody's life.
Yeah, and they're taking not our advice, but I believe the only logical response here is they're moving out of their brand new home.
Okay, they go to report on these people, and they're moving out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they said like when they go there, everyone's frantic. They're just trying to get quickly packed up and out. And so yeah, they move out of their home, and that's just a wild
they had no neighbors around at all anywhere.
It's very rural. I mean, there's only 800.
But I know but nobody heard gunshots.
I mean, I wouldn't believe so. I mean, this is deep out in the country, so I mean, this is their hunting property too. So I mean,
that's true.
Yeah. So the Ford family had only lived at the house for 1 week before the night of the attack, and afterwards they moved out in panic. So after this news article gets published, though, there's a frenzy of reportings. There's a frenzy of people calling, "I saw the Fouke Monster. I saw the Fouke Monster." And I mean, I think that's expected, one, it's the hot news story.
Yeah, I'd do it. 15 minutes. Throw me up there.
And two,
it touched me.
Well, oh my gosh.
I saw him.
So, it's this brand new thing, and people are now seeing stuff in the woods, and there's a current fear. Yeah. And so now they're like, I just saw the Fouke Monster. And I think the minimum threshold for what would be like, I should call this in, is probably much, much, much lower,
Right.
Now, if you see anything, you're calling it in. And
of course.
The red eyes thing, I think, is really important because a lot of these cryptids are reported having bright red eyes, glowing red eyes.
All the cryptids?
Not all, but a lot of them.
A lot of them? Like raccoons?
Even like Mothman. But one thing that's really important to note is that at night when you shine a flashlight across an owl or light hits owl's eyes, they are bright red.
It's just something with their eyes. I didn't know that.
They appear bright red, so they're glowing red. So
I wouldn't know that because I've never flashed a flashlight into an owl's eyes because
they scare the crap out of you.
I think they're demon birds.
the head swivel,
the head's not great, not a great feature,
and they're soundless when they fly. It's just a creepy.
Also not a great, but their head is this. They look like a jar of pickles,
and they got those giant bug eyes too. So if you saw giant eyes and they're glowing red,
and they got that tiny beak, they're like a human with a bird nose.
Mm-hmm. But I imagine, though, you're out hunting in the woods. It's dusk or starting to get dark. You have your flashlight. You're shining it across the woods.
Right.
And looking back at you is
7 feet.
Bright red eyes.
Yeah, 7 feet.
And silhouettes because it's dark out.
So you think it's a collection of owls?
No, but I think, I think that's where you kind of get a little bit of, the reportings become, I said, right. I saw glowing eyes. I saw the Fouke Monster.
Right, of course. Just assumptions.
So yeah, all these are just pouring in. My favorite one though, as these are coming out, there are now hoax, starting to develop.
Yeah. Only one can hope.
Only one can hope for a hoax.
Yeah, I think they're great because the people themselves that do them are such interesting characters.
Yeah, I mean,
because they are all about it. They dive in and they dig their heels in till they die.
Yeah,
because I've never heard of somebody oh, sorry, it was a hoax about Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. Well, these guys who do the hoax, though, they go and they claim that they were attacked again by this Fouke Monster and that they didn't get them, but he scratched up the trees pretty good trying to get at them. Mm-hmm. And the sheriff's department comes out there and they're investigating, and they're taking what they're saying, and they're really going with it. And then the sheriff's deputy, he looks at their hands and sees that all their fingernails are just bloodied up underneath.
Yeah,
these guys are out there scratching trees with bare fingernails, bro. I can't imagine my fingernails ever doing enough damage to tree bark.
The power of meth.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Don't do drugs, children.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. But
I mean, how could you bear that? How could you think that? I mean, I bite my fingernails, so
yeah, but
there's no way I could break bark.
This
but
monster supposedly is 7
think,
foot tall, 300 pounds, and has claws. And you're doing the same damage as your human fingernails against the street. Like, use a knife, use something else.
Right.
Like, it's just such a flabbergasted, like,
meth.
way
moonshine and meth, baby,
to get these like hoax out. That now though, like with that hoax, people start like really throwing up some questions. Like, is this
real? Because all it does is tarnish the real stories, which
at the end of the day,
have a high probability of also being fake, but can't say for certain because you weren't there.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like Bobby Ford, whether he's
who drove a Chevy,
whether Bobby Ford was attacked by the Fouke Monster or not, something terrified that family so much that they moved out within a week. Now, I don't know what it would be. But like I said earlier in the podcast, something that had to be pretty terrifying for me to just move out within a week, But if it was something where I felt like something paranormal attacked me, I'm moving out.
Yeah, it very well could have been. I mean...
And honestly, if I was attacked by a bear, I'd probably move out too.
Yeah, that's actually...
So...
Probably even more so.
I think it's important to not
we just parked it on the wrong spot.
Yeah, so like even as approaching this as like a skeptic...
What's this zoned for? It's all taped off. Commercial. They were going to develop this out. I don't know.
Chemical testing?
Yeah.
So, approaching this as a skeptic, I still, don't want to like discredit someone's like traumatic event where they were like, dude, I'm moving out.
Right. And that's the thing is you're not discrediting the traumatic event, but you have to question.
The hoaxes do, though, in a way, discredit those people.
Those do, yeah.
Because, like if you have a bunch of hoaxes now, it's like, oh, Bobby Ford's lying. And so like, it's not even fair to his account. Now, if he was pulling the ultimate, I'm going to be in deep crap with my wife because I'm hammered on moonshine. I just went through the front door. There's a lot of things you could say before,
we got to move out of here. But once you dig your heels into something like that, you just eat it.
Bobby's just in too deep.
You just swallow it and you own it for the rest of your life.
Bobby's in too deep.
Yeah, I think he might be. Is he still alive?
I don't know.
Have to be, right?
That is actually a good question on that one. I'm not sure. I mean, age-wise, it could happen. It could totally be.
If he wrestled the beast, he was probably in his prime, like, maybe like 25 Tyson.
Dude, wouldn't it just be hilarious though? Like you're wrestling this beast and then you hear like the Undertaker like bells and then he just sits straight up from the ground like dung, and then Bobby just takes off through his front door.
Yeah, he went through the house. He blew through the house.
I'm telling you, I think let's ask the WE if they were in Fouke, Arkansas.
They scripted it.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of these like, not to jump ahead too much, but like the hoaxes come out, but there's been a lot of sightings where people are like, no, I swear up and down, I saw the Fouke Monster.
Right.
The Fouke Monster, sorry. He was crossing the road or,
Yeah, I remember Fauci.
Yeah. Fouke Monster.
Fauci Monster.
Fouke.
He finds you and vaccinates you.
Yeah. So, the Fouke Monster, they report seeing him cross the road. All these like reportings are coming out, and they're all very like I guess
they're
similar.
all in the same region though. He's not like a nomad. He's not traveling. He loves this land, bro.
And maybe that's the thing.
They
moved in on him. They moved in on him.
Yeah, they did actually. He's like 808.
I was promised this land.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so they start measuring out these tracks and stuff.
Yeah,
and 17 inches
is what. The size of his foot.
The size of these foot
And
tracks.
he's only got 3 toes.
It's a creepy image. It's a giant foot to have 3 toes with. So
he's nasty. What?
Yeah,
but okay, what else has 3 toes? Birds?
The only thing I know is just based off the obvious 3-toed sloth. The only thing I can think of is, okay, yeah, that's fair. Has claws. Doesn't chase humans.
Very
and attacks
slow.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
This is a red-haired beast, right?
Yeah, so let's get into a little bit of the description. A lot of the monster sightings that have come out since the 70s have all really reported this beast as being a like reddish orange in hair.
Yeah, a ginger.
Yeah, let's just be
a
straight up.
daywalker.
Yeah, I feel like you would resonate a lot with this beast.
I'm a
like
ginger. A ginger.
You know, and I feel for you because I have like
geez. Way to light up the totem pole there.
Stop.
Where do I stand on this hierarchy?
No, I was just saying.
I don't think your daughter knows how low you think of us.
No, stop. If you let me finish. I have reddish orange like beard. Like
that doesn't count, Nick. You don't get to have some Neapolitan beard and act like you know what it's like to be Irish. Okay. Don't even pretend.
So. Okay, I won't even pretend I know what it's like to be.
I'm just kidding. It's really not hard. You seem to think it's like I battled the famine and driving the snakes out of Ireland and staking my clam in the Oregon Trail.
So yeah, I'm reading this stuff and I'm thinking like, man, like this is like very different than what you read from like Bigfoot sightings. You know, like kind of like a tall, black-haired, shaggy, long hair, black. I've seen
like the opposite of the abominable snowman.
Yeah, and so like this is reddish orange, and all these reports are saying they see reddish orange, reddish orange, reddish orange. I've seen a couple that said it was like longer black hair, but again, that's what I'm gonna say. Like when people are freaking out and they're looking for the Fouke Monster, anything they see, they're
bear.
Yeah, so that sounds.
But like we also have to remember bears are not common in Arkansas, are they?
I think they are.
I mean, Ozark Mountains, yes, I get it, but I mean...
I don't know about Southwest. I don't know.
Does the size of the mountain dictate the size of the bear?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, there's some pretty big black bears, though, around here. Yeah, so, I mean...
The Himalayan bears are just crazy.
That's the Yetis, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, like a lot of these reportings are coming out, and... There's a lot of sightings, and even recent as like 2021. And so, there a lot of reports are coming out, and they're seeing these, the Fouke Monster.
They think that they're seeing the monster, but they're a little confused. People want to see it though, right? When you're looking for something like that, you want to be the one that found it.
Yeah, and
I want to be the one that killed it.
But here's where I have a moral dilemma. Okay.
Over the killing of it?
So let me just like paint the picture of what they're seeing. They're seeing the 7-foot, 300-pound small torso. This is important.
He has a snatched waist too.
He does,
right?
dude. He's been working out. He's been doing vacuum poses.
He's like C-Bum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's been.
For those that don't know, he's like Arnold or Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, he's got the pulled in waist. He's got a smaller.
He's doing
torso.
vacuums in his cave.
Yeah, I think he learned from Bigfoot because all Bigfoot sighting pictures are not good. Like if you're Bigfoot and you're getting caught on camera,
he looks sad
and confused. Like, oh, how did I get caught? Oh,
yeah, he's looking over his shoulder.
Like pose a little,
like TMZ, like
give him
said.
something, give him a little like flex,
huh?
Yeah, it's always like that, like confused, like oh gosh, I was pooping, like
yeah, and he's slumping, right? He's got no,
gangly.
He doesn't have boulder shoulders. But I bet he deadlifts a ton. He's got like sleeper power lifter stance, and you know what I mean? He's got them long arms, and he's just kind of like
now the
shaggy.
Fouke Monster, however, though. He is also bipedal, meaning he walks upright.
Right.
But he is supposedly extremely fast. Like takes off in these like runs extremely fast. And so by the time people go to grab their phones or their cameras or whatever to take this picture, this dude is booking and he's gone.
He's more of a stand-up guy though, because he did lose a wrestling match to Bobby Ford.
Yeah, so yeah, he has some. Who was
probably on moonshine. Just kidding.
Yeah,
we don't know.
He has some character flaws in the fighting arena that maybe he's a little bit more scared of humans than he probably originally was.
Right.
So these sightings, they're seeing this thing, and in a lot of them that you read, they're driving down the road, midday, at night, doesn't matter, and they'll see it like walking across like a county road or walking down a county road, and he sees them approaching and just takes off in this run, and they all
away from them.
Away from and to the woods.
He's not always attacking. Right?
No, No, but if they're in a car, I would imagine that would be terrifying. So he takes off.
He probably thinks it's a UFO or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I knew they were real.
I've been telling everyone. No one believes me.
I was at Roswell.
No one believes me. He goes back to his home of Fouke Monsters. He's like, babe, you'll never guess what I just saw.
The probers are back.
Not again, Randy. Not again. I've attributed the name Randy.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to pause for a second.
I just think of cheeseburgers when you say Randy.
I was blacked out. So I attribute the name Randy to this thing in my head. Just
Randy is the name of the Fouke monster.
Yeah, it just
Randy.
reminds me like a Randy, dude. Like he got all hopped up and attacked his family, bounced. Now he doesn't really know what he's.
Randy's on TRT. Randy's in the gym every day. He's doing 75 hard, snatching his waist. Randy is ready to go.
I love how this got so far away from us.
Okay, but people see him and he runs away.
Yeah. So
in the car.
Yeah.
What would you do? What would your first instinct be? You're in the car. Say you're in my first car, Pontiac Grand Am. And
that really summed up the car too.
Yeah. It just would die in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
I was turning into school and it died.
Yeah, I remember.
And I had to just turn it back on.
Yeah, so
it only had like 60,000 miles on it.
That's an important question though, because this is where I was facing a lot of moral dilemmas, because if you see something that terrifying to the point where you're like, I need to call someone and I got to tell them, I'm going to go on record with my name and say, Texarkana Gazette.
Yes.
Guess what I just saw?
I see where you're going with this.
It was so terrifying to me that I don't mind the scrutiny.
Right. Well, I was thinking, what level of intelligence does Randy have?
It's got to be high to avoid humans for this long.
Because he could read that in his paper, right? And then come hunt you down.
Yeah.
And be like, I heard what you said about me. I know what you did last night.
Oh my gosh. They have a newspaper now? Like, we've given him a family, a newspaper.
Well, I mean, if he's capable of sneaking around and not being seen, he can get a hold of the print,
Yeah, so, yeah, but like, just think about it for a sec, though.
I heard whispers.
And I really want people listening, though, to think about it for a second. You see this monster.
Okay.
And you know what you saw. And so you're going to call it in.
Is it still on the road or not?
No, it takes off into the woods.
Okay.
Though. And you don't have time to take a picture, but you know what you saw.
Well, this is actually recent.
Yeah, 2021.
Okay.
And so, you're sitting there and like I would tell Sky for sure, because Sky won't judge me. She would just, she may think I'm a little bit crazy, but to tell the world, that you saw this monster, it's inviting a lot of scrutiny.
What kind of job do you have in this scenario? What's your job? What's your career?
I don't even know.
You a lumberjack? Or
yeah,
you
I'll go with
accountant?
lumberjack. I'm going to go with lumberjack.
You're telling everybody. You don't
think the accountant would be any different? I think the accountant would be more.
I don't trust him with the numbers anymore. That guy's got an accent. He is mad at the Fouke monster.
I can see where you're going with this. It's more like a cool folklore now.
Yeah, I mean, you're the dude. You're in the woods. You're
tell
credible.
Your boys,
you see stuff.
You can tell your boys at the lumberyard, but they're still going to say stuff.
An accountant? He's just looking for attention.
Yeah, but the other lumberjacks are still going to talk about you.
Or a lawyer? I mean, can you trust that?
I'm just saying, they're still going to talk about you no matter what field you're in. Like, dude, that guy is off his rocker.
Till you dress up as the Fouke monster.
You show up for work and you immediately have a drug test. You immediately, dude, you're not getting a.
Hey, random testing came in today. OSHA's mad. It's like.
They saw what you wrote in the paper.
Yeah. Randy.
So, a really cool, like little fun thing here. A book titled "The Beast of Boggy Creek: The True Story of Fouke Monster," written by a monster hunter, a current monster hunter, Arthur Lyle Blackburn. Super cool name.
That is a monster
hunter. That's a power name.
That's
right
a
there.
Van Helsing of the Fouke monster.
I want to reach out to him for nonetheless to tell him
that's a great
power
name. He does have a power name. Did he change his name legally to that?
I don't know. But in his book, though, he states that sightings of this monster fitting this exact description go all the way back to the 1850s. So they have all the like newspaper. War. Yeah. So, this thing has been just,
it's either been a lot. It's either really old or they're breeding. And we talked about a family.
Could be.
And Randy's just, with that snatched waist.
He's an
alpha.
He's the looker of the group. His job is just to keep a presence at the perimeter.
I appreciate that. That makes up a little bit for the ginger comments earlier.
Yeah. So I feel like the sightings kind of come in clusters too, which is to me as
makes sense actually.
Yeah, as like a skeptic looking in this with kind of like a more open lens to it, it would make sense that they would see him in clusters as he's moving about, in an area.
Yeah.
A lot of them come from that Sulphur Springs, but yeah, so if he's reporting, it's like there's, sightings that go all the way back to the 1850s. That's pretty crazy stuff right there. It's not just like maybe it is a folklore that's just been passed down for so long that.
Yeah, if he's old, he waited 120 years to like ball out and attack the Fords.
But Arthur Lyle Blackburn on the website, FoukeMonster.net, he personally investigates all these sites. So if you call in and say, I saw the Fouke Monster, he personally goes and investigates. He asks you, he contacts you.
3 toes, I'm looking for
and if it
red
fits the
hair.
description and it fits like that, or he feels it's a credible enough story, he puts it on his website. And nice. I counted, it went from 1908, which is not how old he is, but those are the reportings that he's like has newspaper clippings or something that he can put on his site.
Yeah.
To 2021, and there was over 90 sightings on that page, all fitting like very similar descriptions and very similar cases. And so,
what if it's just a family of genetic disordered people and they just won't be left alone?
They just think that they're like at the ultra like
talking about.
They're like on the ultra like ginger spectrum as far as like
whoa
no wait.
There's so much to unpack there.
No, I'm saying
my bad.
They're the most extreme example. They're covered in literally head to toe covered in reddish orange fur. Like they have no way.
They're vampires. They're daywalkers. It protects them from the effects of the sun.
They need the just for men. They need to go like into a
change their appearance.
Yeah, like
go
lay low for a lot.
We went salt and pepper.
So I go green and brown. No one would ever see you again.
Wow.
So yeah, so everyone's seeing them running across the road and all this, crazy stuff. But
I'm chasing it down with the car, especially in the Grand Am. Sacrifice that piece of metal.
Another really important thing that I think like helped like super spread this was in 1972 they created a movie. A man named Charles Pierce heard this story, and he hears it in 1971, but he immediately sets off to make a film about this.
Okay,
and it's a horror drama.
I remember you showed me the trailer,
and so he recruits a bunch of the locals to like be guides or security to like give. Testimonies.
Right, because they're actually terrified of this thing.
Yeah, and so in this movie, he gets financiers to give him $100,000, and he makes like a C/B rated, horror film.
Yeah,
but dude, he grossed $25 million at the box office. This thing spreads rapidly,
which is ridiculous. That's like 10 times more than what Marvel's pumping out these days.
I mean, as far as like, what you invested to what you're bringing home.
I mean, like profit margins. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're tanking, but yeah, this guy knows it. This guy's got the equation.
It spreads it like wildfire. Everyone's seen this movie and everyone's interested in this, Fouke Monster. They make a sequel, Boggy Creek 2, The Legend Continues.
Oh no.
We're headed to like the D.
They went Tokyo Drift with it, didn't they?
they headed to more of the D film, and this bad boy gains notoriety from being on Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I think wild. Personally awesome.
Right.
But now a lot more people are seeing this Fouke Monster that probably would have never seen it. Demographics that are far outside of the region are seeing this Fouke Monster, and it's starting to like.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
And that's where I think, like this stuff.
It's kind of where it just goes into the future. Like, who knows? Do I believe these things are real? Absolutely not. But
yeah,
that's because I do believe in certain things being real. I think that there's a possibility that it could be something. I think it could be a demonic presence. I think that's fair. I think it could be a lineage of like Nephilim. I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, you're going into some deep topics there.
But I mean, there's crazy stuff that like it's even if in like in faith, like the stuff that's in the Bible is like way more beyond than like Lord of the Rings or anything. It's crazy. So it's not ridiculous to think that these things could exist. Do I think that thing does exist? Probably not.
See, I'm on the I guess I'm at the standpoint that I have a harder time. I'm very skeptical, but with that many reported sightings, it becomes hard. It's like they're seeing something out there.
Yeah.
And, it gets often reported as looking like an orangutan, which we do not have in Arkansas.
Would you just call me?
But yeah, so it's often reported as looking exactly like an orangutan. And so, they're seeing something out there. I don't know what it is.
I think it's so hard to know. I definitely am not on the alien board, but I know we're going to eventually get into that. So,
but
lock and load that one.
I think a big thing is that we grew up on X-Files.
You grew up on. I was horrified by it. When that dude
stop,
had to eat the cancer out of that woman, and it's somehow a good thing, and he pukes her into the mold, and I'm just supposed to accept that. I'm supposed to just live with that. Grandma's eating ice cream and loving it, and you're like loving it, and I'm horrified. And then Grandma's climbing on the ceilings. 2 different grandmas. We have a lot. There's a reason we're talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so we both grew up on X-Files. We had very different, appreciations of the X-Files. I've seen through the series.
I was forced
at least 15 to 20 times. I've gone back and watched it so many times.
I will be honest. You know how many times I watched it after I left?
0.
0 times.
Yeah, I remember
I tried to erase it.
Well, remember, that was like the last thing we would do right before we would go to bed, too.
The problem is, it is a good show. I just can't handle the weirdness of it sometimes.
So I say all that, though, to, I guess, I want to close at least my, stance on this whole thing. Okay. With the X-Files, I want to believe. I am skeptical.
You're skeptical, but I
want to believe that these people
optimist.
Are seeing something that, over 90 reported sightings is they're seeing something. If there's over 90 people that are just full of crap, I'm more disappointed with society than I am that the Fouke Monster isn't real.
Right.
I'm more disappointed that over 90 people would, jump to, I'm going to immediately report this to all of my friends, family, and now news outlets.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to gain?
It
is. I mean, real quick, it's the disciple question. What is there to gain by lying by it?
Yeah.
If you're going to go to, I mean, they actually faced brutal death, but these people are going to be, plastered over the news, and people are going to call them crazy.
Yeah.
People like me.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not calling them crazy. What I'm saying is people are going to, smear them and all that stuff. So
yeah, there's got to be some, the risk reward. I just don't feel as great.
I think
enough.
It helps if you personally know somebody that had a sighting where you're like, I know this person, they're totally normal. Yeah. They're, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they're like totally different. They're adamant that they saw this thing. Yeah. Then I think if you said it, I'd be like, meh. No,
see, that's
kidding. Yeah. No, but if
see,
Madeline,
that's what I would be so
said,
pissed off
because
bro.
we also have a younger sister, right? Madeline, and she's like, a Gordon Gekko type, and not like the good qualities. I'll put it that way. But if she said it, I'd be like, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, but
because
the thing
she
is,
just would not ever.
If I go on record
the word.
And I tell everyone, I know what I saw. I saw that damn monster running across the road. And everyone's like, Nick's full of crap, bro. I would be so pissed off because I have crossed my threshold of what I think is an acceptable reasoning to report this to news outlets. Like, guys, listen to me. I swear.
Nick will drive that in so much further and make it worse. You'll become the crazy that they want you to be.
Yeah, because I'd be so mad.
Once you tell it and then people are not sure, it's your worst nightmare. It's like, oh, because now everybody thinks something crazy about you.
Yeah, and I'm way too introverted to, even being on this podcast and having the camera there. Like, I feel like nervous. Whereas, like, if I'm telling people that I saw the Fouke Monster and they want to do interviews, I'm getting invited to the Fouke Monster. They have a yearly, in Fouke, Arkansas, they have like a.
I can see your
Fouke
body
Monster
language
thing.
right now.
I'm just
your hands are
writhing.
down at your side. You're like, and you're like.
I'm writhing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
So
like.
I guess I would I would end this podcast with straight up asking you, if you saw it, if you saw it and you were for sure,
I saw it right in front of me.
And after even if you didn't hear this whole story, you saw a different cryptid, whatever. And you're like, that is not an animal. That is not a human. That is not like something that people believe is real. Do you call? Do you tell anyone outside your family? And circle of friends. Do you tell anyone outside your circle of influence? I know this thing is real because I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
I think if I could touch it, I was serious.
You have to wrestle the damn beast in order to...
I do. I said, I want to see what Bobby's all about.
Yeah.
I want to see what they were like in the 70s, baby. No, I want, if I can because I think that seeing is really, really hard. Eyewitness testimony sucks a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like seeing something, I mean, you can think like laying in the room, you think there's a witch in the corner, right? Because you watched Wizard of Oz too young and you're like afraid that the flying monkeys are coming because you see all the shadows.
Just talking from trauma.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't coming out great because it just hurt. But when you can see all that, and then your mind is really good about creating an image.
I agree.
I have been convinced like there's somebody there. And I turn on the light and I'm like, still doesn't make the shape I saw.
Yeah.
And so if I could feel it, I mean, I don't really want to taste it, but if I could feel it.
You're going to cook and eat Randy now?
No, I'm not.
He's got a wife and kids,
I meant like
he's got a 9 to 5.
Lick his shoulder or something. That's not okay. Stop!
No,
stop! No, I'm not doing.
That's gonna be a sound clip for sure. John wants to lick Randy, the orange Sasquatch's shoulder.
I just meant that's where my
it's just
brain
this
doesn't
ginger
make
bonding.
connection.
It's a ginger bonding of sorts.
Wow, dude! Somehow you've turned ginger from just a classification to derogatory.
Yeah, Luna's gonna grow up and hear this and be like, "Dad, you."
No, what I'm saying, if I could touch it, like feel it,
yeah, I know what
that
you mean.
it's there, then I think, yeah. I mean, I would probably not.
But
tell
it takes
anybody.
off running. Yeah, see, like you like sneak up on it, you touch it,
I mean,
it's real. It takes off running in the woods, and now you have to call, whatever.
I would call
Little Rock news
I'm not
station.
calling the cops. No way, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, you're getting arrested for drugs.
No, yeah,
you have to be high.
I don't have drugs.
No, but they're gonna assume that you.
They could. Well, in the 70s, yeah. I mean, because they probably didn't do the blood testing as much. But
I'm saying if you called the cops right now and you said, "I just touched the Fouke Monster, snuck up on it, grabbed it, and it took off in the woods,"
run it. I'm clean.
They would. I feel like they would toss you out.
They would toss out the test. Yeah, they would say that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but they're not going to put me in the.
I was just being
jail.
Exaggerating.
I was getting concerned about how the laws are today. Things have changed. No, I think I wouldn't tell. I would probably tell you because I know you'd be interested to hear that. And then I know you would believe it. But I definitely wouldn't tell Mom.
See, I feel like
she would have a lot of questions. Then that's where her mind would go, be like,
and that's like the hard part about being like the whistleblower, like that's the hard part about being the one who's like, I saw this, and like we were talking about, you lose all credibility.
Well, okay. Whistleblower for a cryptid, for like a creature, yeah. But whistleblower for a company embezzling money, yeah. I'm taking it.
But
down.
At first,
I'm
that one has
my
hard
life on
evidence,
that.
so it's not even like in the same realm. But at
Right.
first, people still ostracize you.
Right, like CIA type stuff. I could see that.
Yeah, you're like,
We can't get into that. We'll get into that another time. This has been fun. This was really good.
yeah. This is
I was
actually a lot more
happy-
fun than a lot more fun talking about the Fouke Monster than I thought we'd have tonight.
Yeah, I was. This was fun, and that's what we want to do. We want to have fun. We want to talk about bipolar disorder. We want to talk about our lives, poke jabs at each other, give you a little inside look at what it's like to be brothers.
Yeah, and
So welcome to the family.
exactly. And I think the thing I want everyone to really, I want everyone to learn something and take home something, but I want something for them to chew on throughout the week.
Yeah, we
And
want you to
this
go
week,
home with something.
I really want you to chew on. If you saw the Fouke Monster,
yeah.
you're all by yourself. You see the Fouke Monster. You know it's real. Fine. You sneak up on it, touch it on the back. You have all the evidence you need to know that the Fouke Monster is real. Do you call and tell people? Do you call and tell the news station? Or do you get buried with your knowledge that the Fouke Monster is real?
Yeah. I mean, that's not, that's for you to decide.
All right.
Well, we've got more coming, upcoming podcasts. Super excited about upcoming episodes. We just want to have fun.
Yeah,
give you something to learn, and we'll see you on the flip flop.
Yeah.
Later.